Hey, what's up everyone? It's me, Paul, and welcome back to my channel, where I talk about technology, consulting, and personal development. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you some of my favorite tips on how to maintain a work-life balance while working from home. 2020 has been such a crazy year, ranging from the wildfires in Australia to the global pandemic, and even now, the high excessive heat waves. Such a crazy time. With the global pandemic playing a huge role in 2020, many companies all around the world made the move, shifting from working full-time in the office to working full-time at home. Because of this shift, many people are actually seeing an impact on the work-life balance. These tips that I will be giving to you will help you make that distinct separation between your work life and your personal life. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Tip number 1, take the work meetings on a walk. This will help you reduce the amount of Zoom fatigue you are experiencing during your work days. For those of you who don't know what Zoom fatigue is, it is essentially a concept to explain your exhaustion and tiredness after hopping on a video conferencing call or chat, usually through an application called Zoom. But it can expand to other applications like Skype or Slack. Dr. Brian Wind, who is a part of the American Psychological Association, also known as the APA, describes to us in an easy way to understand it. He explains that video conferencing or video chatting can be more tiring for us due to the fact that we have to work a lot harder in order to interpret nonverbal communications. When we talk to people face to face, not only are we listening to their voices and looking at their facial expressions, we're also trying to read their body languages and their hand movements, as well as feel out their vibe. That's why on Zoom, we're spending a lot more time working a lot harder and using more mental capacity in order to make up for these missing pieces of communication that are important in everyday conversations. By taking meetings on a walk, you can reduce the amount of stress you experience and the amount of effort you have to put in order to stay focused on the screen. Instead, you can enjoy nature, fresh air, and even physical activity, which will help you re-energize for your upcoming meetings or just allows you to relax at the end of the day. Tip number 2, set an alarm clock on your phone, not to help you with waking up, but instead knowing when to end work. This stops you from working many more hours than you needed to in a day without even realizing it. Ever since I started working full-time from home, I started to notice that I tend to stay on the computer for work a lot longer than I needed to be. For me personally, I start work at 7 a.m. and usually end at 3 p.m. Nowadays, I found myself staying on until 3:30, even 4, even 5 o'clock, and that's when I log off. I realized that it's because I don't have a sense of urgency. I no longer needed to beat traffic and beat the commute home. My mind convinces me that why should I stop work now when in reality after work I have nowhere to go. By setting an alarm clock on your phone to notify you when to stop working is using a concept in behavioral psychology called conditioning. For those of you who don't know what conditioning is, it is a theory that explains when a specific event happens, which we know as the stimuli, we as human beings would react to it in a certain manner, which can be trained or modified. So to relate this back to our tip, the event or the stimuli that occurs is the alarm clock ringing. And the way that we react to this is the response, where we are being trained to know that when this alarm clock rings, we need to shut down our computers and walk away from work. This simple tip draws that fine line of separation between your work life and your personal life. Tip number 3, have a water bottle next to your desk when working. For me, at work, sometimes I forget to stand up and even go use the restroom or take a break or get a snack. I would just constantly be typing at my computer, and before I realize it, by the end of the workday, I just feel so drained. By having a water bottle stationed at your desk, you're able to drink it and be able to consume something so good, and at the same time makes you go use the restroom, get up every hour or so, and go do other things like call your friends, text your parents, your family members, do some catch up on your Instagram or Reddit. But once you come back to work, you're not only feeling more relaxed, but now you actually come back to work with a refreshed state of mind. I know some of you may be thinking right now that you don't need to take a break every hour. On the articles that I've read, working longer doesn't necessarily mean that you're putting out your best work. Yes, you may be working a lot harder, but you're not actually working a lot smarter. Various studies mention that in order to use our most optimal mental capacity to do work, we should spend between 20 and 50 minutes on a given task. In my opinion, no one should be working 8 hours straight without any breaks at all. That's just not sustainable, and it definitely does not do any good for our mental health. It makes you start to hate work and makes you less productive for your company or for your clients. So remember to drink your water and take breaks. It helps. Tip number 4. Separate out your work location, your relaxing location, and even your sleep location. I actually got this tip from a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. James tells us in the book that location is a very powerful tool to use in order to change and shape your behaviors. For me, I actually use location in order to focus at work while I'm sitting at my chair. When I'm in my relaxing location, I know that my brain and my behaviors should reflect that of a relaxing state. I shouldn't be thinking about work, and it shouldn't be coming into the back of my mind every couple minutes. Similarly, when I get into bed, all I can think about is sleep. By using the tool of location, I'm able to mock out the same lifestyle I had before coronavirus took place and forced us to work from home remotely. These locations help you know what to do at a given time. At the start of working from home, I made a huge mistake by taking my work onto my bed. This had negative consequences, which included wanting to fall back asleep, wanting to take a nap in the middle of the day, and the worst of all is not being able to sleep at night. At nighttime, my brain makes me think that, hey, your bed isn't actually not a place to sleep, it's actually a place to do work. So don't make the same mistakes that I did. It will cause you to miss good night's sleep. Be consistent with going to the same location every day during your work week. Hope you enjoy these 4 tips that are easy to do in your everyday life. And I guarantee you that if you are consistent with these tips, you're going to see a reduction in your stress level as well as a path towards your work-life balance. In the next video, I'll be talking about tips on how to prevent burnout while you are climbing the corporate ladder. Stay tuned and peace out.